in stress, the same response. The blood vessels in the forebrain get shut down because that pushes the blood to the hindbrain for reflex.
Oh, hello, Bruce.
Hello. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have a conversation. I so appreciate this.
First, I came across your book sometime in 2012, Biology of Belief. And I rarely repeat a book. That's the first book that I read twice. To deepen my belief system, because it resonated so well. You have brought the science and made people think that even during your pregnancy, you have to think, because you are transferring your wrong or right kind of genetic pattern to your embryonic cells. And this is all because of your sympathetic and parasympathetic system going crazy or remaining in harmony. And
Yeah.
in almost all my public talks, I give you references on how creating an environment matters, especially when you are going through this pregnancy phase. And your experiment on neighborhoods, and bad neighborhoods, as well as in the suburban mothers, the striking difference, born to children, born to mothers who had harmonious lifestyle and stressful lifestyle. There's a big difference in that, big time. And in Indian tradition, Bruce, earlier, at least before 1970s, I would say, as I recall, most daughter-in-laws, I would say, moment the father-in-law comes to know or mother-in-law comes to know that their daughter-in-law is pregnant, they perform rituals and respectfully send her to her parents' place. So she would spend time in harmony, in peace. There is no stress, and that would, create a destiny kind of a thing for a child, a spiritual destiny, we like to call, or a better emotionally developed fetus.
As we know, the stress hormones shut the blood vessels in the gut, squeeze them, so the blood is pushed to the arms and legs for fight or flight. And also, this is the other critical part, in stress, the same response. The blood vessels in the forebrain get shut down because that pushes the blood to the hindbrain for reflex. Not when you're running from a tiger, it's not time to think, it's time to reflex, run. And so I say, so when there's stress hormones, the blood vessels shut down here and they shut down in the gut. And then I say, when a child is developing in the womb, the development of any organ is proportional to the amount of blood going to that organ. So when a mother is in a full stress situation, then the stress hormones in the fetus, as it's growing, squeeze the blood vessels shut, causing less intelligence. That you can reduce the intelligence of a child 50% when a woman is stressed throughout the process because the blood is being pushed to the hindbrain. And what are you making? A big hindbrain for reflexes. And what else are you making? Where's the blood going? Arms and legs. So I say, so what stress hormones make a soldier, but they compromise intelligence to make power. And so stress has a long-lasting influence in that population because the children get compromised even before they're born if the parents are in stress.
So true, so true. And I ask mothers to be, and we go through this special course, how to remain meditative, how to remain calm and more peaceful through heartfulness practices that we offer them, how to become more still, not just calm, but very still and very peaceful. And also how to, before the environment attacks you, how to vaccinate yourself against the environmental impact. That is meditative mind. It remains combative against the influences. So you are preempting the stress situation with a meditative mind. And by somehow, because of your carelessness, you end up having environmental impact, or you had an argument with someone which you absorb. How to get rid of it?
Yes. It lingers in the mind.
And how to get rid of the impressions, because your approach is extremely spiritual and extremely scientific. I mean, I cannot praise you enough for that.
When I understood the science and then the spiritual part, like, oh my God, because I didn't believe it wasn't spiritual to my life, not spiritual at all. But the moment I saw the mechanism of how the identity is picked up by the cell antennas for self, I said, oh my God, I can't die. I'm not even in here. and then my life just was a radical transformation, because the most important thing I realized, and this I think would be for almost every human, because I'm just like them, what did happen at the very first thing was my life got so much easier, because the fear of death, it lingers in people's minds, and they're afraid. They're always afraid about this future of this death. And the moment that I saw was, well, I can't die. I'm not even in here. I'm out here. And I realized no fear of death. And that moment, I could feel a whole physiological change in my entire body, because there was a joy, there was a lightness,